It's obviously nice to get back home, and snowy, feels like home. So good trip out west, obviously, and coming out of there with a couple of wins, drastically very different games. I thought we did what we needed to do in the Washington game. We got off to a great start. And then I thought we got a little uncharacteristically sloppy. Maybe it was a little easy early. Watching the film, I thought we got the same shots we got at Oregon. We just didn't make them from three. I thought we got really good looks. But give Danny credit. They found some things defensively that are working for them, and Osavar didn't affect the game offensively, but defensively he was terrific. And then we withstood early foul trouble from Kylan. I think that's one of the positives. We had KJ in foul trouble at not hardly playing in the first half at Oregon, and Bam at Washington, but very different games. I was excited to see that part of it, to be quite honest. I think we had 22 straight points against Washington in the paint and at the free throw line. Even though we shoot threes, a game we didn't make them, we still found a way to win and be efficient and be effective. And we've obviously did a really good job. I thought Tommy was excellent in his rim protection against Osavar. I thought that we lacked a little focus in guarding Davis, letting him come off some screens, making some mental mistakes there. But I thought that all in all it was solid effort, and then obviously KJ made some important baskets late, and then we made free throws down the stretch to handle that. But now it's Penn State. They're good. They've got some veterans. They've got some guys back, led by Ace. They're a team that I compare a little bit to Missouri in terms of the way they play. They've got 5 guys in double figures, so it's not just Ace. The big kid from Northern has impacted their team a great deal with shot blocking, with rim presence. He's had a 15 rebound game, and he's helped solidify them on both ends of the court. So a well-balanced team. They're going to press. They're handsy, and we're going to have to be ball tough and then play. They're right there with us, averaging 88 points a game. So they like tempo, as we do, and they've got quality depth. So the DeLeon kid transfer from Tennessee has been very effective as well. So they've hit the home run with a couple of their transfers and impacting their team at a very high level.
Penn State probably has maybe as much continuity as anybody in the league, just with the guys that came back. How much have you seen that maybe being a difference for them?
Sure. I think it's all a positive. I think anytime you get continuity, there's nothing bad about that. And Mike's in his in his early status of his career, early place in his career. So having that continuity and that carryover is huge, and especially when it's led by one of the better point guards in the country in Ace. So it's nice to have, and like I said, they've done a really good job of blending the transfers in and putting the pieces to that puzzle together very well. Mike hasn't won 400 games in his career because he's a bad coach and a bad recruiter. He knows what he's doing. So yeah, that's a big part of it. We get a lot of veterans.
Brad, do you think your defense would be where it's at this point in the season?
Hopeful. You'd ask me after Ole Miss, no. I think it's all a part of our growth. I think that Zach Hamer and our staff have done a really good job of building what our fundamental base is, building what our continuity is. I think that we're fortunate that a very little thing called communication and talk can be the difference between a good defense and a bad one. And you can have great individual defenders, and I think we've got a few of those. But our communication is tremendous. This is a talkative group. They're loud that way. So we try to eliminate mistakes, and it's helped build our defensive chemistry, maybe at an expedited rate.
You said obviously after Ole Miss you weren't particularly happy with where you were. When did you maybe see that flip on for you guys?
It's just a timing thing. I think that patience is not one of my virtues, and I think it's one of the things I felt really comfortable with is we had some individual defenders, and I thought that positional size and length and some of those things we had, but developing chemistry is really hard, and it just takes time, and I think we're a better team than obviously we were then. I think we're a better team since we played Northwestern. I think we're a much better team now than we were when we played Tennessee. And I think all of that just is put in place by time. And when you don't have a tremendous amount of continuity, a lot of new faces, time does nothing but help. But it's a tribute to our staff and most importantly our players, because they're willing listeners and they're trying to buy in on that end, and it's allowed us to be in the spots we're in.
I guess continue on that front. Early, was it just the chemistry part that maybe you were concerned about? Were there other things defensively that you just didn't maybe have a clear idea of heading into the year?
I think we thought we were going to be a better rim protection team than we were a year ago. That was obviously a bugaboo last year. It was something that we didn't do. Late we relied on Coleman's hands and his anticipation, but so we had to scheme a little more with that. So I thought we had that. I was pretty confident that what we were getting with Bam, in terms of an elite on-ball defender, there was enough evidence of what he could be. But I think that we knew that size would be there for us. It was just a matter of I think Will's just leaps and bounds better defensively than he was even a month ago. I think that Kasparis has proven that he can really guard. We knew what we had in Draven, a guy that could hawk the ball a bit. The freshmen have done a tremendous job. Merez has been really good, and Tommy's just so smart, and he's 7'1". So it's just a culmination of time and experience and growing and getting better on that end.
Coach, you said the other day that there was a difference between playing hard and competing to win for your guys. What does that look like to you?
Yeah, we're not there yet. You can play hard, and you can, and our guys are playing hard, and we demand that every day. That's who we are. The saying "everyday guys" exist around that. But I think competing to win is the play Trey White made at the end of the game, diving on the floor for the loose ball, first one on the floor. I think it's the going to offensive rebound, even though you're blocked out, and trying to get the ball and doing your job. I think it's sitting down and taking pride in guarding the basketball, not needing help. That's competing. That's the little things when you've got the mindset that I'm gonna win and do my job so our team can win. And you guys can go out and play hard, but you can also play hard and not be very competitive when it comes to the outcome of something. And this group is learning to fight, and I don't want you to just block out. I want you to block out and go get the ball. I want you to handle the ball screen coverage and not let them score, and do everything I can. Sometimes they score and it's next play, but the mindset of competing is a real lost art, in my opinion, and one that we're getting better at. We play hard, but we've got to learn to compete, and we got to do it for 40 minutes. We can't take gaps. Right now we're a 32 to 34 minute a game compete team. We got 6-8 minutes a game where we've got to be better.
Along those lines, several of your recent teams that have been successful have done that well. Have you found that it is something guys have to buy in to being the competitive plays? Is it something you have to instill?
Yeah.
It just takes time.
Yeah, and some of it's ingrained. Some guys will know how to do it. Some guys don't. And everybody says playing hard is a learned skill today. Maybe it is. Winning's really hard to do, and you have to teach that. And sometimes you got to learn how not to lose before you can learn how to win. And this group is playing hard, and they're competing. Now, how damn tough can we be for 40 minutes and not get up 27-10 and have the mindset that it needs to be 38-12 or 38-14, and we're not going to relax. We're going to put our foot through the floorboard, and that's competing, and that's not resting because something became easy. And we've had that. I look back just last year. UConn was probably as good at it as anybody in the country. That's the next step for our team is that level of competition and competing and not taking a play off.
Penn State, I think, is a top 10 in turnover percentage defensively. What do they do so well on that end, and how will that challenge your guys tomorrow?
Yeah, they're going to pick up full court. They're going to run and jump. They'll allow you to turn the ball over just by mentally, not being sharp. They're very much like Missouri. They're going to deny passing lanes. They're going to crawl up in you. They blitz ball screens, which we just saw from Washington. You're going to have to work for your catches. When you drive it, they're going to swarm to the ball. They're handsy. Ace has been uses his quickness and speed to create opportunities, and now they've got some rim protection with the big kids. So they do a little bit of everything, but it's like I said, it's nothing we haven't seen. We just saw the denial and the hard pressure, and thought we did a great job in the second half of that game with only 4 turnovers. But more of the same coming.
A couple months ago, you said you were looking for the next Terrence defensively. Have you found that offensively with KJ being trusted with the ball in late game situations?
Yeah, I think offensively, it comes in every game has its own identity. KJ's really good. I think that the him and Kylan and Trey, to be very honest, those two, as much as the Davis kid impacted the game offensively, we went right at him at the other end, and it was those two guards, down the stretch. They were tremendous. Tommy had a couple threes that we thought were in, and we ran a play to get him a three, and it just loop-de-loop and came out. But all three of those guys are very, very capable, and they've all hit big shots at different times throughout the early season here.
Got a lot of games in a short window here. That's not atypical for this time of year. Is that a factor, if at all, in these games right now?
Only if you let it be. It's a Big Ten. It's what we all signed up for. It's we've got unbelievably good presence in Paul Schmidt, Joey Biggs, Adam Fletcher, doing all this. We had 5 games in 12 or 13 days last year. We've got them this year a couple of times. Guys would rather play games than practice anyway, and let's go. We go every day anyway, so it's not that big a deal.
Fans online, they've been loving DGL and Jake Davis. What's it like to have, depth on this basketball roster, and how would you compare this depth to other teams that you've had at Illinois?
What do they like about him? I don't read it, so I don't know. That I kind of like him too. So, are they liking him? What? Because they scored a couple baskets? It's good. We don't win 2 games without Draven. Draven was tremendous, and I thought his decision making was good. I thought his decisiveness was great. I think the game is slowing down for him, even though he plays very fast. You're hard pressed to find as good an athlete as there is, as he is, and at any level. The block he's made in a couple games, the dunk, his speed, his quickness, definitely impacted both of those games, and he's a very good isolation player. So I think he's, my comfort with him is growing, and then I think the game is slowing down, and his decisiveness and decision making has been really good. Jake just does what we ask, and he does it at a really high clip. And we tell him to offensive rebound, he offensive rebounds. He gets 2 or 3 deflections that lead to easy baskets for other guys. Other than the bad play made in the Washington game where he let the Davis kid rip off the baseline, and he was in la la land, I guess is the best way to put it. But he's made a lot of really good plays. He's a terrific shooter. He's a great feel guy. He has what we call great next actions. He creates looks for people. So I've been very, very pleased with both of those guys, and you combine that with Merez and Will, it's made our bench very, very productive.
The way
Last one here for Coach.
the way Dre kind of snuffed out 2 fast breaks by Washington by himself, is that skill, art, technique, some kind of combination of that?
All the above, and then really, really good genetics. When you can run really fast and you can jump really high, they missed the block. I mean, and Earl told me he missed the block. I mean, I think he, you go pull that up on any highlight, and I mean, you see him on top of the ball, but his quickness and his speed allowed him to make the steal and the deflection, and we get to see that every day, and he dunks on somebody a couple times a week in practice, and so we're not shocked by that either, and he's a very, very gifted athlete, and and now those are competitive plays. Those are the plays you talk about. You can just play hard, but now you go compete to win a game, and you make that block, and you make that steal or get that deflection, and those are the things that Draven's has learned and is doing now, and it's impacting our team at a really high level.